What is the license revenue and why was it so big this quarter? The company thinks they know, but they're not sure. Welcome to the Drill Down Earnings Report. I'm Cory Johnson, Futurum's Chief Market Strategist. We want to get a quick look at ARM Holding earnings. Oh my goodness, what a quarter and what an interesting quarter. A lot you wouldn't expect here in these earnings. We've got the Drill Down Earnings Report to tell you a lot more than Wall Street. Wall Street looks for miss and beat, and then they look away. Yeah, this was a beat, a really big beat, a fantastic beat for this company. Sales came in at $824 million. That was about 8% better than Wall Street expected. And profits, also a lot better than expected, profits of $305 million on a non-GAAP basis. I usually like to avoid non-GAAP. We'll use non-GAAP right now because the non-GAAP number takes out stock compensation. ARM just did an IPO. Their stock compensation is huge, so it really skews the results. But these are really strong numbers from ARM. Let's look at the actual numbers. $824 million, as I mentioned, up 14% year over year. Record royalty revenue for this company. We'll get into the difference between licensing and revenue in just a minute. Licensing revenue, I should say, and royalty revenue. Their non-GAAP number, as I mentioned, take out stock comp, up 17% year over year. Fantastic margins for this company. 97% gross margins. You'd expect this. The company doesn't really make anything except for the designs that they create. 41% non-GAAP operating margins. A really profitable company on some fast-growing revenues, big numbers. But let's look deeper to the numbers beyond the headline numbers. Think about how this business works. ARM Holdings sells a design to make a new kind of chip, and then they get royalties after that chip has already been designed. So the forward indicator probably is license sales. Royalty sales come in, and so they're able to look at royalty revenues of $470 million in the last quarter, up 11% year over year. That was driven by recovery in the semiconductor industry. A lot of their new version 9 chips, which they get more money for than their version 8, which is good. So for every version 9 chip, they get a little bit more than a version 8 chip. And so when you look at the licensing revenue, what you want to see is you want to see the licensing revenue for the version 9 because it's going to be real big royalty revenue down the line. So better than expected licensing revenue in the quarter they just reported today, up 18% year over year to $354 million. Strong bookings going forward because of strong demand for what else? AI. But also recovery in mobile phones, which we haven't seen from all the companies reporting in semiconductors, but this is very much a forward-looking indicator and a strong one for this company. How did the stock react? It went crazy, up over 50% when the market opened. 50%. Look at that market performance when the stock first opened today. And when you look at the one-year numbers, just fantastic numbers since the IPO. Since the IPO, the stock's up, 75% or so. Just fantastic numbers. And of course, the royalty number, they kind of know what the royalty number is going to be, right? They've already sold the license. They can see where the chip sales are happening. They have these legal agreements in place. But what is the license revenue and why was it so big this quarter? The company thinks they know, but they're not sure. Here's CFO Jason Child. Jason's a terrific chief financial officer, and he's not willing to put out his predictions yet until he can really spend another 90 days getting a handle on what's happening with licensing.
But going beyond that, when you unpack licensing versus royalty, because of the fact that we're largely, almost entirely under contract for next year on royalties, we feel good about those trends. It's the license piece that's a little harder to forecast. If I look at last quarter and this in Q4 that's coming up, we've definitely had some upside from AI and selling additional licenses that were just not in our plan and not anticipated. So I think we're going to need to work through this quarter to find out how much of that upside continues to and that trend flows into next year. Because we've seen this demand has been coming, I think, a little shorter sales cycles than we had seen with, typically before. So I'd say stay tuned.
Very helpful.
In 90 days, we'll give you a better view.
So those licensing numbers, who knows what's driving it? We think it's AI. We think it's a recovery in the phone mobile business, but they're going to take some time to forecast that going forward. So what's our big drill down earnings takeaway, and what's the one number that means a whole lot to us? We'll have the drill down earnings bite right after this.
The Drill Down is brought to you by Futurum Group, where analysts, researchers, advisors, content creators, and marketing experts help business leaders anticipate and understand shifts in their industries and build strategies to leverage disruptive innovation. With deep analysis, Futurum Group's extensive industry experience delivers reliable research and data, thought leadership, and actionable advice to help you with your strategy and go-to-market efforts. Futurum Group.
All right, here's your quick drill down earnings take on ARM Holdings. Fantastic quarter. Look, the revenues for this company, super strong, both in royalty and in licensing, $824 million in the quarter. But the licensing business, particularly around AI, was so strong for this, it sent the stock up 50%. And here's the secret driver of that. The drill down earnings bite, the one number that tells us a whole lot, 30.1% was from China, from ARM Holdings China, which is a related party. We know that most of the growth happened in China. Was it in AI? Was it in phones? Yes, it was in both. But that's where a lot of this growth was, something to watch going forward. All right, thanks for listening to Drill Down Earnings. I'm Cory Johnson. You can follow us on TikTok at Drill Down Pod, on Instagram at Drill Down Pod, and on YouTube at the Futurum Group. Follow, like, subscribe, and comment. The Drill Down Earnings part of the 6-5 Media Group.